Hey guys, welcome to Bow Hunting Soul. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about arrow rests. I actually got a question from somebody earlier today actually, and I'd also been making some comments about how I've been modifying my rests and things like that. So this was more like a general question about somebody that was struggling a little bit to figure out excuse me, what kind of rest they should use and what's the best and all that. And of course, everyone asks that kind of stuff all the time. And I said, well, you know, I'm no expert, I'm no guru, but I know I've tried a bunch of different stuff, and I want to talk about what really works for me. What really is important with the rest, as far as in the traditional world, is the rest needs to be, it needs to be quiet, it needs to be pretty durable. And what I mean by that is, we have these things outside. Sometimes they're going to pick up, you know, like dirt and grit and bark and snow and that kind of stuff. So when we draw, we want the rest to be quiet. We also want the thing to not fall off. And for the most part, I'm going to be talking about shooting off the shelf or a little bit elevated rest that's on there. There are actual stick-on elevated rests and other various rests that hold the arrow up completely. There's the Bear Weather Rest, I believe, that it's kind of like a little hook that kind of cradles the arrow that's like off the shelf completely. But I shoot pretty much all of my stuff off the shelf, but I have it elevated. Now this is my 59 Kodiak. You've seen this one before, I think. Of course you have. And I'm going to get really close in here. Now forget this. Forget the actual rest right now. Look how flat. Look how flat that is. Okay? What this came with was it came with a feather rest. And I think in my first video I said how much I pretty much hate the thing. It's loud. It's too bouncy. The feathers obviously go in one direction. It makes a noise when you draw it in the other direction. The arrow kind of fell off it too much. I didn't like it. So I actually replaced it. This is kind of like a conglomeration of a couple rests. The side piece here is actually from a bear hair rest, okay? And that's basically just leather. And then the strip over top of that comes with, I don't think it's bear hair obviously, but it's like a Velcro-like kind of soft rug that gets taped over it. The problem is with a really flat shelf. What happens is if this isn't elevated, I'm going to try and do my best here, and if it's like sitting like this, let's say, look how much flat surface contact along here that is. That's a lot of contact for you to influence the arrow at the shot. Now remember, you're the weak link in this. Assuming your bow is tuned, even if your bow is slightly out of tune, you're probably still the weakest link in this whole chain. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to isolate how the bow actually touches the arrow and how long it touches the arrow and how long a spot that it touches the arrow. So the side plate, obviously, you know, leather. Some people use the female side of Velcro, the soft side of Velcro. Either way, I've done both. It may affect your spine a little bit, and it may not. You're going to have to play around with that. What I do, however, with all my bows, and all the ones that I have actually are, like I said, they're pretty flat shelf. Most modern bows now, they do have, you know, this part right here, right above the deepest part of where you would grip, right here. So right above here, basically, you know, above, you know, the pivot point in your hand, where where the least, I guess, leverage would be one way or another, is this shelf will be radiused, okay? It'll be curved. So assuming, you know, this is the curve like this, like my knuckle, then it only basically balances and goes across on one small point. That way it influences the arrow the least. Now if you don't have that, what a lot of people do, and certainly what I do, is if you look in here, it's kind of elevated. This little piece in here is actually Is it 2 pieces? Yes, it's 2 pieces. Now this is female Velcro over here. It's 2 pieces of, 2 little squares of female Velcro stacked on top of each other just to create kind of little, like a little elevated, little 2-story bump. And across the entire thing, I put, just for quietness and just in case it has contact front, rear, or whatever. If you look, I know it's kind of dark in there. Then I put a longer piece of female Velcro over the entire thing. So it and I glue it down or hot glue it down or you know, super glue or whatever. And that basically gives me, now this is kind of a wider contact point too than even some, like I said, like really modern bows that have a really aggressively radius shelf. But if you look at it, it's only really sitting, and I've got a really high knock point, by the way, but this seems to work for me. I'm going to come around this way so it can work a little better. See that? It's only basically sitting just on that one part. And it's actually, it's got a little bit of give to it. Some people prefer a really firm shelf. This isn't like super springy. It's not as springy as that feather rest I was talking about. But in my mind, for some, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just, you know, it's in my head that I'm thinking of that way. But it actually gives a little bit of compliance, and it gives you a little bit more forgiveness at the shot. I could be completely wrong with that. That could just be like a placebo thing in my head. I don't know. But that's the way I like to do it. So there it is. And like I said, this bump over here, it's actually probably more contact than this thing needs. But like I said, when you got to experiment a little bit, and when you find what you want, stick with that and then go with it. As long as it's not across like a flat shelf, I found that to be the worst with all of these bows. All these bows that I have right now are Bear archery bows. Nothing against them. These are kind of, well, this is a replica of the 1959 bow. And then I've got my other 2 here, which is my Kodiak Magnum. This is a 1966, an actual 1966, and an actual 1966 Bear Grizzly. Okay, so both of these bows, as per the times, as per the design of the times, they all have pretty flat shelves. Now this one is kind of ghetto looking. I've been playing around with this one a lot. You can see it a lot easier. See how flat that shelf is on this one? Super flat. Well, I raised this part up right here above, you know, the deepest part of the notch over here. And I'm gonna actually probably, this has kind of been my bow that I shoots really well for me. I reshaped the grip, and I'm gonna do a video on the Grizzly about reshaping it, maybe even this one. Next time you see this bow, it might even be a different color. I don't know. I like tinkering with this thing. I'm not afraid to bring out the sander and rasp and make these things fit my grip a little bit better. This was a little bit too bulbous. I talked about that in the video for this one. But again, this has the same leather side plate, 2 pieces of Velcro that are elevated, and then this piece over. This is actually the Bear hair rest that comes in, that kind of beige looking thing. When you get the kit, and they're like $6 or $7, I can't remember. It's this and this piece, and usually it goes straight across. I'll probably get another piece of black Velcro. However, what I think I'm going to do with this one, and I think that'll be kind of like a good video project, is like I said, I'm not afraid to, I've already sanded this part down to fit my wrist a little bit better. I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to try and radius this if I can. I don't know. I don't want to take away too much beef. We'll see. That might be a problem. Like I said, next time you see this bow might be totally different. Might be a different color. This is kind of like my black and tan kind of looking one that I, you know, it was that original brown underneath it. And I spray painted it. And the Krylon didn't stick very well when I started wiping off the drips, you know. But then it kind of ended up with this black and tan look, and it actually looks a little bit better in person than it does on here. But this is my not afraid to get my hands dirty and bring out the power tools kind of bow for that. And the one I'm actually kind of still working on is this Grizzly. You can tell I've actually kind of, you can tell the color difference here. I've actually sanded it. This is sealed. It's just sealed with satin, or yeah, satin, not the gloss finish, just to keep, you know, moisture and stuff out. But I'm still working on the perfect grip for this one. The other ones I've kind of got there. This one still wants to kind of twist, you know, that way in my hand. Anyway, that's another aside. But look at the shelf on this one as well. Totally flat. And I just recently did this one. And again, long piece of female. That's the soft part, you know, of Velcro. And underneath, you can't really tell. It's kind of black on black there, but it's elevated with 2 pieces of female Velcro. Again, just to kind of elevate it. And I'm telling you, that helps a lot. So whether you use this, some people actually will put, instead of this, I guess there's like a furniture pad under there. That's really, some people just shoot off the furniture pad. They'll just cut that, put it on elevated, and not have a hole. I actually like something on across the whole shelf here, because, you know, the arrow bangs into it or whatever, it makes noise. I actually like this whole thing covered, even though it doesn't hit over here and it doesn't hit over here. And all you really need is just, you know, where it's really supporting the arrow. So that's something to keep in mind. But some people will actually put, you know, they'll say to put a toothpick under there. In the video for that Kodiak Magnum I did, I think I actually had like a little piece of a chopstick that I cut off, and it was under there. And again, it kind of raises this little ridge. I found that when it's on a really tiny thing like that, like a nail I've also used, or that chopstick or whatever, that hard point that soft Velcro goes over, or the bear rest goes over, it tends to wear through pretty quickly. Now, some of that, of course, is due to you know, knock height. Some of that is, I know you're going to say, well, you know, it's putting too much downward pressure on it. I understand. If you have it perfectly tuned, it shouldn't be putting pressure down or sideways or anything like that. You know, and you can kind of see witness marks of where your arrow is going. However, even if you got everything tuned, it's just going across on this one tiny little point of a hard, you know, a hard surface underneath something soft, and it just wears through that something soft. So I've gone away from that. I've gone to this, you know, stacked Velcro or furniture pad. So anyway, that's it. Those are my bows, and those are your options. Those are my options that I use for an elevated rest. So if you like any of this stuff, I'll put links actually to the Bear weather rest, because I use those all the time, because it's got the leather side plate. I like that. That usually stays on the bow, and if I have to replace the actual shelf material, I'll just switch to Velcro. They have the same squish to me. They have the same wear to me, so they're kind of they're interchangeable. So I'll do that, and I'll also put some links to these bows. All of these models are still sold by Bear Archery, and they're still you know, really good. I mean, they're really good shooting bows. I think it's only limited by your ability, my ability, whatever. So I'll put those in the links below, and I appreciate it if you do anything on Amazon. Actually, you can click through there, and even if you don't end up buying one of these beauties or whatever, and you buy a 10-pack of Sharpies, the channel still gets credit for the fact that you went through my link, and it's greatly appreciated. We get higher up in the ranks. I do earn like pennies commission, but anyway, that's kind of the way that thing works. So if you like this video, if you want to comment on what you use, there's a whole variety of stuff out there. People have their own opinions. I'd love to hear it. So like, share, and subscribe, and then come on over to the Bow Hunting Soul Facebook group. Engage in there. And also, another shameless plug here, we've actually opened up a whole bunch of t-shirts and stuff on our store, and that's at www.stickshirts.com. It's just spelled stick, stickshirts.com. And there's a whole bunch of other shirts. There's family-oriented shirts, but there's a few, there's a bunch of bow hunting ones. This one's on there. This is kind of like an older one. I don't even know if this is on there still, but there's a few way cooler designs. I've got the long sleeves. I've got the raglan ones. I've got kids shirts and stuff. So go on over there, check it out, and support that way. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.